What if I told you that many people who say they love you are not actually looking for the real you? They are often searching for the feeling they experience when you reflect the version of themselves they wish they could become. But every once in a rare while, someone enters your life who does not simply chase your attention. They do not need constant proof. They quietly notice something much deeper within you. By the end of this video, you will understand the powerful signs that reveal whether this kind of rare connection has already appeared in your life or why you may have never truly experienced it before. Think about one person who has remained in your thoughts for years, not because they were exciting or because they gave you temporary happiness, but because somehow they changed the way you saw yourself. Keep that person in your mind as we explore this idea together. While you listen, ask yourself one important question. Did they love the version of me that I showed the world, or did they recognize the person I was afraid to reveal? If you have ever questioned whether someone truly understands the deepest parts of who you are, stay until the end, because the final realization may completely change how you look at love. Most people go through life believing they are searching for love, but often they are searching for attention. The difference may seem small, but it creates a completely different experience. Attention is attracted to what can be easily seen. It notices your looks, your success, your confidence, your personality, your achievements, and the role you play in someone else's life. It connects with the outside because the outside is simple to understand. But the deepest part of a person has never existed on the surface. It lives in the quiet spaces where your fears, dreams, struggles, emotions, and hidden desires remain unknown to the world. This is why someone can receive endless attention and still feel completely alone inside. When a person only wants your attention, their feelings often change depending on how well you fulfill their emotional expectations. They enjoy the version of you that makes them feel good, the version that supports them, inspires them, comforts them, or confirms what they already believe. But the moment you show your doubts, your weaknesses, your confusion, or the parts of yourself that are still growing, their connection starts to fade. They were never truly connected with the person behind the image. They were connected with an idea they created about you inside their own mind. They loved the picture, not the person. A person who truly values your soul behaves differently. They become interested in the parts of you that even you are still trying to understand. They do not immediately try to change you, repair you, or remove every struggle you carry. Instead, they stay beside you while you uncover more of yourself. They understand that every human being has hidden places inside their mind and heart. Places filled with old memories, quiet fears, unfinished emotions, and dreams waiting to be discovered. Instead of judging those hidden parts, they create a safe space where you can face them without feeling ashamed. Their presence gives you something incredibly rare. You no longer feel like you have to act perfect. You no longer feel the pressure to constantly impress, prove, or pretend. You can simply exist as yourself. And that is where a truly meaningful connection begins. It is not built on performance, it is built on being seen. Or constantly feel the need to prove that you matter. You start to discover a kind of freedom that cannot be created by compliments, praise, or someone else's approval. For maybe the first time in your life, you realize that your worth was never based on how much attention you could attract. Your value was always connected to the simple reality of who you are when every false layer begins to disappear. The mask is one of the earliest things humans learn to create, usually without even noticing it. From a young age, we begin to understand that some emotions receive acceptance while others create discomfort or rejection. We learn to hide sadness behind a smile, to act confident when we are full of uncertainty, and to silence the parts of ourselves that feel too sensitive, too different, or too imperfect. Slowly, this carefully designed version of ourselves becomes the identity we show to the outside world. It helps us fit in, achieve goals, and protect ourselves from emotional pain. But there is a hidden price. The stronger the mask becomes, the easier it is for people to connect with the person we pretend to be while never discovering the person we truly are underneath. Many connections never move beyond this unseen level. They are created around expectations, habits, roles, and appearances that both people try to maintain. Someone may fall in love with your confidence, your intelligence, your humor, your beauty, or your accomplishments. Everything seems perfect as long as both people continue acting according to the roles they have created. But somewhere beneath the surface, a quiet fear begins to appear. What happens when the image breaks? What happens when tiredness, disappointment, fear, insecurity, or failure reveals the parts of yourself you have tried to hide for so long? Stay with me, because this is where the difference between ordinary connection and a rare connection becomes clear. The rare person is not impressed only by the performance. They notice the details that most people overlook. They recognize the pause before you answer, the pain hidden behind your smile, the uncertainty behind your confidence, and the dreams you keep locked inside because you are afraid they will not be understood. They are not searching for perfection. They are interested in the complete human being. They understand that every person carries opposite qualities within them. We can be brave and afraid. We can be strong and vulnerable. We can have hope while still carrying doubts. In their presence, something powerful begins to change. You stop editing every sentence before you speak. You stop worrying about whether you look impressive enough. You no longer feel trapped in the endless responsibility of appearing flawless. Slowly, the emotional walls you built for protection begin to fall away. The real you starts appearing naturally, not because someone forced you to reveal yourself, but because you finally feel accepted enough to be honest, and that is one of the clearest signs that someone appreciates your true character instead of simply admiring the image you created. One of the deepest fears people carry is not the fear of being rejected. It is the fear of being completely understood. Every person has hidden areas within themselves that they rarely allow others to see. There are memories we avoid revisiting, feelings we struggle to explain, mistakes we quietly regret, and emotions we believe would make others look at us differently if they discovered them. These hidden parts do not vanish simply because we ignore them. They continue influencing our decisions, shaping our relationships, and affecting the way we see ourselves. The more we push these parts away, the more silently they control our lives. This is why many relationships feel unstable, even when everything appears fine from the outside. They continue only because both people keep showing the safest and most acceptable versions of themselves. They celebrate victories but feel uncomfortable around struggles. They enjoy confidence but pull away when vulnerability appears. They welcome happiness but become uncertain when pain, anger, fear, jealousy, or insecurity enters the room. The connection begins to weaken, not because these emotions are abnormal, but because there was never enough space for the complete truth of being human. Real connection is not created when two people only share their best moments. It is created when they can face the complicated moments without losing respect, kindness, and understanding. The person who truly sees you does not disappear when life becomes messy. They do not only want the easy version of you, they are willing to understand the full story. They recognize that your struggles are not signs of weakness, but parts of your journey. And when someone can see those hidden places without judgment, something rare happens. You no longer feel like you have to protect yourself from being discovered. You feel free to finally be known, and that feeling is something attention alone can never provide. But because they reveal the things that were carefully hidden beneath the surface for a long time. The connection was created around comfort, not honesty. A person who truly values your soul reacts in a completely different way. They do not define you by your lowest moments. They do not look at your struggles and decide that is all you are. They understand that every person carries both beautiful and difficult parts inside themselves. They know there are moments of strength and moments of weakness, moments of confidence and moments of uncertainty. They recognize that imperfections are not proof that someone is broken. They are evidence that a person is still learning, changing, and becoming. Instead of turning your weaknesses into reasons to judge you, they approach them with compassion, patience, and understanding. They know growth cannot happen in an environment where someone is constantly criticized or made to feel ashamed. But remember, true acceptance does not mean accepting every harmful choice or pretending every behavior is okay. Real love is not blind approval. It is the ability to see the difference between a person's mistakes and their true value. It means encouraging growth without creating fear. It means asking for honesty without creating shame. Their presence gives you the courage to face the parts of yourself you once wanted to hide because you no longer have to fight the fear of being rejected at the same time. Slowly, something beautiful begins to happen. The very things you spent years trying to conceal become the places where deeper trust begins to grow. You stop trying to appear perfect. You stop building a false image just to be accepted. You discover the peaceful freedom of showing up as your real self, understanding that the strongest connections are not destroyed by truth, they are created through it. And this is the point where many people begin to recognize the difference between being admired and being truly understood. Many people confuse love with holding on too tightly because control can sometimes look like protection. Someone may say they care about you and want the best for your life, but secretly feel uncomfortable when you begin becoming a stronger version of yourself. They may support your growth only when it does not change the balance between you. They may celebrate your achievements only when those achievements do not create distance. They may encourage your dreams only when those dreams fit inside the limits they created for you. What seems like love can slowly turn into a hidden restriction. Not always because of bad intentions, but because of fear. Fear of losing their place in your life. Fear of no longer being needed. Fear that your personal growth may take you somewhere they cannot follow. A person who only loves the attention you give them often prefers you to stay the same. They feel comfortable when you constantly seek their approval, when you question yourself before making choices, or when your confidence depends on their reassurance. Your need for them becomes the evidence they use to measure your love. Without realizing it, they may begin influencing your decisions, making you doubt your abilities, discouraging your risks, and weakening the connection you have with your own inner guidance. Slowly, your world starts becoming smaller. Not because you are incapable of achieving more, but because your freedom has been quietly traded for a sense of temporary security. But someone who truly loves your soul wants something much greater for you. They understand that love is not about creating a prison where two people hold each other back. It is about creating a space where both people can become who they are truly meant to become. Instead of fearing your transformation, they support it. They encourage you to explore new ideas, follow your purpose, develop your talents, and discover hidden parts of yourself that have been waiting to emerge. Stay with this thought, because this is one of the clearest signs of a rare connection. Real closeness is not threatened by personal growth. It becomes stronger because of it. This kind of person does not try to compete with your dreams or force themselves to become the center of your entire world. They feel genuine happiness when they see you becoming more confident because your strength does not make them feel smaller. They offer advice without demanding control. They support you without expecting ownership. Even when your journey becomes uncertain, they remind you to trust your own wisdom instead of depending completely on theirs. In their presence, you finally understand that real love never asks you to shrink yourself so another person can feel powerful. It gives you the courage to expand, to discover, and to become more fully yourself. The deepest bonds are never created through control. They are created through trust, freedom, and the feeling that someone can see your growth without trying to stop it. In a world filled with endless conversations, constant notifications, and non-stop distractions, silence has become something many people struggle to understand. We often believe that when words disappear, the connection must also be disappearing. We measure love through frequent messages, immediate responses, and continuous communication. When the screen stays quiet or a room becomes peaceful, the mind quickly starts creating questions. Did something change? Did they lose interest? Are they slowly forgetting me? But the deepest connections are not always proven through constant noise. Some bonds remain strong even in moments of silence because they are built on understanding, not constant reassurance. When someone only wants your attention, silence can feel threatening because their connection depends on continuous emotional supply. They need regular validation, excitement, reactions, and proof that they still matter. Every pause feels like a problem. Every delayed response feels like rejection. Every quiet moment becomes something they feel they must fix. The relationship becomes dependent on keeping the emotional energy alive at all times, and eventually both people become tired without understanding why. True connection feels different. It allows space without creating fear. It allows two people to breathe without assuming the bond is disappearing. Sometimes silence is not a sign of distance. Sometimes it is the place where the deepest understanding quietly exists. A person who truly loves your soul understands silence in a completely different way. They know that a meaningful connection is not measured by how many conversations you have or how many words are exchanged every day. It is measured by the peace that remains when words are no longer needed. They do not become anxious when a conversation naturally slows down because they trust the foundation beneath the communication. Their belief in the relationship comes from genuine presence, not from constantly trying to prove something. Think about those rare moments when you can sit beside someone and feel completely comfortable without needing to entertain them or search for something impressive to say. There is no pressure to perform, no need to explain every feeling. No need to create a perfect version of yourself just to keep their attention. The silence feels peaceful instead of uncomfortable. It becomes a shared moment where two people can simply exist together without pretending to be more confident, more cheerful, or more interesting than they really are. That kind of comfort cannot be created through force. It only appears when trust becomes stronger than appearances. This type of silence reveals something important about what people truly need from each other. We are not always searching for solutions, advice, or explanations. Sometimes we simply want someone who can sit with us and recognize our existence without trying to change who we are. The right person understands this naturally. They know that some pain does not need immediate answers, and some emotions do not need to be explained perfectly. Their peaceful presence communicates something deeper than words. It tells you that you are accepted, that you are safe, and that you do not have to constantly prove your place in someone's life. Sometimes the strongest connection is found in the quiet moments shared between two people who no longer feel the need to convince each other that they belong. Many people become attached to emotional intensity without realizing what is actually happening inside them. They confuse unpredictability with passion, anxiety with excitement, and emotional ups and downs with proof that something is deeply meaningful. The heart begins chasing feelings that the mind struggles to understand. One day there is incredible closeness and affection. The next day there is distance and uncertainty. One moment you feel completely chosen, and the next moment you find yourself questioning whether you matter at all. This pattern can create extremely powerful emotions, but powerful emotions do not always mean a healthy or genuine connection. Sometimes they are simply the result of uncertainty wearing the appearance of love. When someone mainly desires your attention, they may create emotional instability because instability keeps you focused on them. Your energy becomes spent trying to understand their feelings instead of understanding your own. You begin analyzing every message, replaying every conversation, and searching for hidden meanings behind every small action. Slowly, your mind becomes trapped in confusion rather than connection. You may call it love because it feels intense, but intensity by itself has never been proof of true care. A person who genuinely loves your soul creates a completely different emotional environment. Instead of pulling you into endless questions and doubts, they bring a sense of stability. Their words and actions slowly match, allowing trust to develop naturally instead of requiring constant reassurance. You understand where you stand because they do not use uncertainty to control your emotions. Their care is steady. Their affection is consistent. Their presence does not disappear whenever things become difficult. This type of love may feel unfamiliar if you have spent a long time around emotional chaos. It may even seem less exciting in the beginning because there is no constant fear of losing it. But with time, you begin to recognize its deeper value. Stay with this idea because this is where many people misunderstand love. Real love does not always feel like a dramatic storm. Sometimes it feels like finally finding a place where your heart can rest. In their presence, you stop waiting for the next disappointment. You stop preparing yourself for sudden distance or unexpected rejection. You no longer feel like you have to earn affection every day because their care is offered freely, not used as a reward or taken away as punishment. Instead of constantly asking if you are enough, you begin focusing on becoming the person you truly want to become. This is one of the strongest signs that someone appreciates your soul rather than simply enjoying your attention. They do not keep you emotionally tired just to maintain your attachment. They help you feel emotionally balanced, showing you that the most powerful love is often the one that brings peace instead of constant emotional struggle. The people who create the deepest changes in our lives are not always the ones who create the strongest emotions. Many times, they are the ones who quietly transform the way we understand ourselves. Before meeting them, you may have believed that your identity was completely shaped by your past, your mistakes, your experiences, or the opinions of others. You may have thought you had to remain the same person forever because that was simply who you were. But then someone enters your life who sees possibilities within you that you never noticed yourself. They do not create a new version of you. They help you discover the parts of yourself that were already there, waiting to be recognized. They remind you that growth is possible and that your story is still being written. The impact they leave is not only about what they give you, it is also about what they awaken inside you. You begin seeing your own value differently. You begin trusting your voice more. You begin realizing that the parts of yourself you once considered weaknesses may actually contain some of your greatest strengths. And that is the mark of a rare connection. It does not simply make you feel wanted. It helps you feel more connected to yourself. It does not trap you inside another person's expectations. It gives you the courage to become more fully who you are. Your past experiences, your achievements, or the moments where you failed. Yet, a truly meaningful connection has a unique way of showing you possibilities within yourself that were quietly waiting beneath the surface. It does not create a completely different person out of you. Instead, it helps you discover the person you are always capable of becoming. Many relationships keep people emotionally trapped in old patterns. They reward what feels familiar because familiarity creates a sense of safety. If you have always questioned your abilities, they continue seeing you through that same limited perspective. If you have always hidden your emotions, they accept the version you show without ever encouraging you to reveal more. Slowly, you remain stuck as the person you were at the beginning of the relationship. There may be comfort, but there is little personal growth. The connection protects what already exists, instead of inspiring what could exist. A person who truly loves your soul does not try to rebuild you into their preferred version. They become a gentle reflection, not someone trying to control your shape. They do not redesign your personality based on their expectations. Instead, they help you notice the qualities within yourself that you may have forgotten or never fully appreciated. They see your bravery when you only notice your fear. They recognize your understanding when you continue questioning your own decisions. They remind you of your inner strength when difficult moments make you forget it exists. Their faith in who you are encourages you to reconnect with the parts of yourself that you once ignored. This kind of transformation does not happen overnight. It develops quietly through simple, everyday moments. You begin expressing yourself more honestly because you no longer feel terrified of being rejected. You start making choices with greater confidence because someone has reminded you that your thoughts and instincts have value. Old emotional pain slowly becomes lighter because it no longer controls every decision you make. The relationship becomes a place where growth happens naturally instead of a place where you constantly have to fix what is broken. Eventually, you notice a powerful change within yourself. You are no longer trying to live only for approval. You become more genuine, more aware, and more comfortable accepting both your strengths and your imperfections. This is one of the strongest signs of a connection built on something deeper. Its greatest purpose is not to transform you into someone else. It is to give you the confidence to become the most complete version of who you already are. The final sign that someone values your soul, instead of simply seeking your attention, appears when life begins removing the things that once made you easy to admire. Imagine every external label slowly disappearing. Your achievements are no longer being celebrated. Your confidence goes through difficult seasons. Your appearance changes with time. The things that once attracted attention no longer define your identity. And suddenly, a powerful question appears inside you. If everything that made me impressive disappeared, who would still choose to stay? Many connections are built around invisible conditions that are rarely spoken out loud. As long as you provide excitement, comfort, reassurance, success, or emotional support, the relationship feels effortless. But when life changes, the true foundation begins to reveal itself. Patience decreases, interest becomes weaker. Support starts becoming harder to feel. This does not always happen because someone planned to hurt you. Sometimes they were simply attached to the experience you gave them instead of being connected to the person you truly are. Their feelings were connected to what your presence provided rather than the reality of your heart. Someone who genuinely loves your soul responds in a completely different way. They stay connected to your humanity even when life becomes complicated. They understand that every person will experience moments of uncertainty, disappointment, failure, and emotional struggle. Instead of walking away during those seasons, they move closer with understanding and kindness. They are not searching for someone who never falls. They are searching for someone who is real. Your challenges do not reduce your value in their eyes because they never measured your worth through accomplishments or appearances. This does not mean they ignore your mistakes or excuse unhealthy choices. They still encourage growth, honesty, and personal responsibility. But they never make you feel that you must earn love by being perfect. Their care is connected to the person you are becoming, not just the image you show to the outside world. And perhaps the clearest proof appears during the quiet moments when there is nothing to gain. They remain when attention disappears, when praise becomes silence, and when all you have left to offer is your authentic self. In that kind of presence, you discover something incredibly rare.